Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Ahmad Fazrul Izwan bin Sarimi and today I will present about the introduction. The Employment Act of 1955 is the most important piece of work legislation in Malaysia, establishing the minimum standards for employment terms and conditions. Both employees and employers have rights under the Act, as well as requirements or responsibilities that must be met in order to be protected by the legislation. Women employees are protected at work, but there are certain types of jobs that women are not permitted to perform. On April 1st, 2012, the Employment Act of 2012, which updates and adds to the Principal Act, entered into the force. Women employees are protected at work according to one of the key components of Employment Act of 1955. In Malaysia, the Employment Act of 1955 has 4 sections concerning female employees: prohibition of night labour, prohibition of underground work, prohibition of ministerial employment, and maternity protection are among the provisions in Malaysia's Employment Act 1955 that apply to the female employees. This program is designed to give participants a thorough understanding of the current Employment Act 1955, as well as an update on the amendments and new provisions in the Act 2012 so that proper planning and adjustment for compliance with the new or amended provisions, as well as statutory procedural requirements can be made. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. I'm Muhammad Hafiz bin Abdul Najib. As the second presenter, we'll continue with the first provision, which is Section 34, Prohibition of Night Work. Subsection 1. Working women in Malaysia are protected from working at night by Section 34 of the Employment Act 1955. Other than that, employers are not authorized to force their female employees to work between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. Neither can an employer demand its female employees to start work for the day without first taking 11 hours of rest. Women working in any industrial or agricultural enterprise or undertaking such as quarrying, mining, and manufacturing are prohibited from working at night, which is 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. under the Employment Act. Service-related sectors such as commercial, hospitality, public health, and entertainment are exempt from the limitations. Employers may apply to the Director General of Labour for an exception from this restriction, of which the Director General may allow with conditions. Remember, according to Section 103G, any employer who violates the provision shall upon conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 10,000 ringgit. Subsection 2. Any person who is affected by any decision made or condition imposed under the provision to subsection 1 and who is dissatisfied with such decision or condition may within 30 days of such decision or condition being communicated to him appeal in writing thereform to the minister. No female employee referred to in Rule 2 may begin work until she has been off for 11 hours in a row. Notwithstanding Section 34 of the Employment Act 1955, any female employee working in shift work in any recognized industrial undertaking that performs at least 2 shifts per day may be subject to Regulation 3 work at such time between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. as the minister may allow. Move to the next. Reason why women are not permitted to work night hours is because of their workplace safety. Women employees are more vulnerable during night shift because of the absence of the individual present at that time, as well as the dismal environment at work, which instills anxiety in any woman in that circumstance. Last but not least, various precautions can be taken by the organization to ensure the safety of women workers who have to do night shifts. For instance, the employer may offer free transportation from the house to the job and back, as well as proper security. Other examples include providing enough restrooms, latrines, and washing facilities for women personnel with separate water supplies to provide privacy. What we can say is that there is always a means to safeguard the safety of female employers. And all companies concerned must be aware of this and take responsibility for it. That's all the explanation for section 34. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haris Hakim bin Abu Bakar, and now I will talk about the next prohibition, which is prohibition of underground work. Underground work means work performed during underground excavation, which includes drilling, blasting, garnetting, and or rock bolting. The prohibition from underground work of female employees also has stated under the Section 35 in Malaysia's Employment Act 1955. No female employee shall be employed in any underground working. This is because underground work is very dangerous and a lot of risk for women workers. Therefore, the government has banned underground work for women workers. So, all women are given the opportunity in other places other than underground work. They can apply for jobs that suit with their certificate of study, such as diploma and degree. From this, all the women notice the importance of education to apply their job. So, the percentage of women in primary school to the university level was increased day by day. Every woman has their own ambition to be what they want to for their future. So, there is no reason for them to work in underground work that is full of risk and dangerous. Moreover, working underground is dangerous and requires extensive physical training. As a result, mining has always been a male-dominated sector. In addition, underground work can bring various disadvantages to women. This underground work is not suitable for a woman's body. For example, when the woman is pregnant or on menstruation or period. In this condition, their bodies are very weak and cannot do heavy work. They must be very difficult to do the job. Women were considered physically incapable of working in the mining industry as they were seen as weaker than men. It is clear here that men are more suitable for underground work than women. So there is no more reason for women to work underground working.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Ashraf bin Rosli. I will be presenting about the prohibition of employment by minister. Prohibition of employment by minister. EA 1955 does not apply to all workers. Before the Amendment Act 2012 took effect, the Act 1955 defined employee as any person who enters into a contract of service with an employer whose pay into a contract of service with an employer whose pay do not exceed RM1,500 per month, regardless of his occupation. Any person who enters into a contract of employment with an employer regardless of his monthly wage, but engaged in manual labor, engaged in the operation or maintenance or any mechanically propelled vehicle, supervise other employee, engaged in manual labor, engaged as a worker on a vessel registered in Malaysia, or engaged as a domestic servant is also protected by the EA 1955. Secondly, the wage barrier was set at RM 1,500. Given today's economic circumstance, the extension of coverage for employees based on earnings under the EA 1955 is seen quite likely. Nonetheless, given Malaysia's progress toward becoming a high-income country and the recent implementation of a minimum wage regime, this extension appears to be well behind schedule. It is also seen incompatible with the Ministry of Human Resource efforts to reform employment legislation in accordance with the new economic model and the high-income nation policy. Employment, engagement or contracting of any person or class of person to carry out in any occupation in any agricultural or industrial undertaking, constructional work, statutory body, local government, authority, trade, business. Upon the coming into force of any such order, the person or class of person employed, engaged or contracted with to carry out the work shall be deemed to be an employee or employees, and the principal or owner of the agricultural or industrial undertaking, constructional work, trade, business or place of work, or that statutory body or local government authority shall be deemed to be employer for the purpose of such provision of this Act and other written law as may be specified in the order. The Minister may by order approve the employment of any person or class of person by such other person or class of person, not being the principal or owner. Thus, any person who contravenes any order made under this section commits an offence.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to my lovely Madam Izrin and my fellow friends. My name is Letria binti Rosli and today I would like to present my part for the assignment. I will be explaining the Maternity Protection under Employment Act of 1955. First and foremost, maternity protection at the working environment is a lawful and social acknowledgement of the commitment that ladies make by having children while simultaneously working for pay. It was set up to secure the well-being of the pregnant and working mother and of her child. Secondly, maternity protection likewise connotes that moms and infants are qualified for security at work and to solid environmental factors at the work environment. Besides, it represents permitting new moms to take a paid maternity leave from work that is adequately long to guarantee their own well-being and rest, and furthermore the solid beginnings of their youngster and sufficient opportunity to bond with their youngster, build up a sound breastfeeding routine, and follow WHA suggestions concerning 6 long periods of selective breastfeeding. What is more, obviously, maternity protection likewise implies that ladies reserve the privilege to work in a climate that works with breastfeeding when they return to work, and hence are qualified for breastfeeding breaks, breastfeeding offices and crèches at the spot of work as put down in Suggestion 191. The International Labour Organization first perceived the significance of this issue, the extended period of its creation in 1919 by taking on C3 on maternity protection. However, it is a human rights. Maternity protection entitles all ladies of conceptive age to the right work without separation, to work in states of safety, of respect and of goodness. Next, maternity protection is covered under Part IX of the Malaysia Employment Act 1955. Under Segment 37(1) of the Act, female representatives are qualified for maternity leave for a time of at the very least 360 successive days in regard of every restriction, and she will be qualified for get maternity remittance in regard of the qualified period. By excellence of the new segment 44A, after revisions of 1st April 2012, Area 44A expressed that regardless passage 1 of the main timetable, this part stretches out to each female worker who is utilized under an agreement of administration independent of her wages. Subsequently, in view of current enactment after changes of 1st April 2012, in the event that a female representative convey her kids on weeks 24, which is 6 months, either in any condition, maternity protection will be agreed to her. Moreover, at the point when a female worker is qualified for maternity leave, she will not start sooner than a time of 30 days from the date of restriction, and if she incapable to play out her obligations agreeable, a business anyway may request that the female representative take such leave 14 days sooner. On Section 37(1)(b), the objective is that arrangements with respect to those components be incorporated as a base standard in public enactment on maternity protection, and that such enactment then, at that point, be carried out authorized for all laborers in that country. Hence, this central component of maternity protection is straightforwardly connected to maternity leave, which is on the off chance that a lady is qualified for a maternity leave. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Adam Haris bin Anwar. So I would like to talk about the conclusion. Me and my groupmate have discussed the provisions of female employees in Malaysia as stipulated in the Employment Act 1955. Based on what we have studied, we managed to conclude that there are 4 provisions on female employees that give benefit for them. One of the provisions that we discussed are prohibition of night work. As stated in 2.0, women employees are not authorized to force their female workers to work between the hours 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. If they found guilty for violate the regulation, they can be conviction to a punishment of not more than 500 ringgit. That is the first provisions that we discussed. Next is the prohibition of underground work, such as drilling, rope bolting, all the construction site. This is because underground work is very dangerous and risky for women workers. Therefore, the government has banned any underground work for women. Next provisions are the prohibition of employment by minister. The minister may by order prohibit the employment or contracting of any person or class of person to carry out work in any occupation. Maternity protection at the working environment is a lawful and social acknowledgement of the commitment that women make by having children while simultaneously working for pay. These central components of maternity protection are the same as maternity leave, which is off to the chance that give off chance that a lady is qualified, that a woman qualified for a maternity leave. Woman is guaranteed to get back to her previous occupation at the finish of her leave, and she can be excused during this period. Women employees are protected at work. According to Employment Act of 1955, women employees play a key part and as much as important as much as the men's employees, because women are great to inspire and motivate employees at workplace. They understand others' emotion better and can appeal their unique needs more effectively, enabling them to perform better. Hence that women they are behave in a generous and friendly way at the workplace to ensure the mood and everyone is okay at the workplace. Thank you.